Alright everybody, what's up and welcome to your reading for the full moon in Gemini happening on the 27th of November in the Northern Hemisphere and the 28th of November in the Southern Hemisphere. My name is Kate Lightstone. I run Indigo Instinct Healing. I am a channeled psychic medium as well as a guide for empaths, highly sensitive souls, and starseeds on this earth. If you want to connect with me for a private reading, you can reach out to me at any time at my email, which I'll leave in the description box below. Or if you're more interested in learning about my work, go check out medium.com. I'll leave a card up in the box here as I'm saying this, and you can go check out my articles about the energies that are happening right now, whether you might be a starseed, and twin flame stuff, and just other things in the metaphysical realm. We have just thankfully started Sagittarius season, which means that there is a lot more happening in terms of release and moving forwards and getting rid of the dead weight that we've been carrying all through this earlier month of November, or earlier half of November, just to really show us that we don't need it anymore. And so for many of you, that's going to involve finally letting go of habits that no longer serve you, finally letting go of relationships that no longer serve you, and just a general willingness to shift forwards into the direction of your dreams and where you actually want to go. So for those of you who follow my readings, I'm doing this a little bit differently this time. I've got the cards set up in front of the video instead of my face, and so I'll get right to the reading and won't spend too much time talking. And we will dive, we'll dive into the reading for the full moon in Sagittarius. So the first thing that's coming up right here, our High Priest card. You're being asked this month to really take charge of your dreams. And for most of you, that means getting over the excuse for why you haven't started or why you haven't done the thing that gets you moving into that direction. Whether it means you haven't been willing to make the connections, or you haven't been willing to send that email, or put yourself out in the open. Or for some of you, it might mean that you haven't bought the instrument or quit the job or left the housing situation, or whatever it is that is keeping you in this place. You know, for some of you, it's about putting the coffee away and you know, being willing to take a risk with your routine and your habits and trying something different. But you're really being asked to take charge of your future this season as we move into Sagittarius season and we move into this full moon coming up on the Monday. What do you want to intend? Write it down, say it out loud, sing it in the shower, bury it after you've written it on a piece of paper, scratch it on a rock or a stick or whatever, and get really clear. Bring it down to one sentence about, what am I trying to intend? You know, I am intending that I attract a job that works for me, pays me well, and allows me to connect to the people of my soul tribe. Or I am reclaiming health on my body. I claim health for myself, and I allow myself to move into a future where my physical ailments or mental wellness ailments are no longer bothering me. Intend what you want for the future, because we're moving into Sagittarius season, there's so much space to move into possibility. There's this expansion. Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter, and Jupiter expands. And so there's this expansion that is happening this month, at the end of this month and moving into December. And so get really firm. Create the thing that you are intending so that it feels like it's a little object and it's that solid in your mind. And then do the courageous thing and step forwards into the unknown so that you can step out of the past. Because what holds us back most of the time is this fear of what has happened to us before. But when we do that, we're looking back to the past and we don't actually allow ourselves to have this space to move into what is waiting for us in the future. So intend what you are trying to create this month and this full moon, and then go forth. Okay, when it comes to relationships, this could be a romantic relationship. It could be a relationship with a parent or a family member. It could be a relationship with a friend or a loved one or even a coworker. There is this desire to idolize a person, maybe a situation. And this reverse shaman, this is really all about dreams and connecting to your higher self. And in reverse, what's coming through is this obscurity. And so be really mindful about how you are creating a story in your head of how this relationship is going to go, what this relationship is going to look like, what it's going to mean, what it's going to teach you, because you don't actually know any of that. We don't know any of that. And the beautiful thing about how life unfolds is that as it unfolds, things change. And so there's one person in particular that's coming through. There's going to be one person in mind that this situation applies to. And no matter how much you want to create this idea of who they are, it's not going to be what you expect. And so the faster we can take them off the pedestal, I wrote an article about this in the most recent energy forecast I did on Medium. The faster we take them off the pedestal, the more space you have in the relationship for it to actually unfold the way it's supposed to. You know, maybe you have this idea that this person is meant to be your one person in a romantic setting. And really what they're meant to do is show you or walk you to this space of opportunity that you wouldn't have seen otherwise, but they're not meant to be your romantic partner. Or maybe this person that you thought was going to be this perfect companion is actually just a very large lesson for something that you have been almost ready to heal, but not quite ready until now. And so it's kind of like going forward with this idea of, I know that I do not know all the answers, and I am willing to be surprised by the result. And if you can repeat that mantra to yourself as you move forward in this relationship, it's going to be a lot more easeful and gentle as you move forwards in relation with this person and their own energy and where they're coming from. Okay. I'm going to pull these together. This has a relationship, but these two are kind of calling out, and then I'll finish with this one. So, okay. So, we have this realm of possibility coming up in this full moon, and this realm of possibility coming up in this month. And I know I do these forecasts on the new and the full moon, but this is really feeling more about Sagittarius season as a whole, which started yesterday. And so we've got about a full month of this energy, but I'll still do my other reading as well when the time comes. And there are always multiple timelines on which that we walk on, or that we're able to access in our lifetime. And sometimes we jump from timeline to timeline and we go to a higher timeline and we present ourselves with more opportunity or more ways of engaging with the positive aspects of life. And sometimes we jump to a timeline that is more consistent or more familiar to us, but is also more rooted in fear. And with this sovereignty card in reverse and this Earth Guardian card in reverse, what we are being offered here is this opportunity to move forwards in a direction of reclamation. And so what's coming up in reverse here is loss of power, loss of sense of self, loss of knowing who you are, loss of feeling like you have control over life or knowing at least what direction you want to go in, as well as feeling ungrounded, unsure, not knowing what's going to happen with your living situation or what's going to happen with the future or whatever. And that is true. All of those questions are true. And we have this call to see this for what it is, which is one perspective. It's one side of the card. But what if you're the person who's standing here and all of a sudden this is facing forwards? Can you flip your perspective just by tricking your mind and challenging your mind and asking yourself, but what if I saw this the other way? What if I saw this as, instead of, oh, look how much sovereignty I've lost, look at what sovereignty I'm gaining back and how much more rooted I am in that and how much stronger I am in that and how different it is this time. And in terms of feeling unrooted or ungrounded or unsure, what are you wanting to move towards? What if you're filling your mind with, this is the beautiful situation I'm moving towards. This is the beautiful mountaintop that I'm moving towards, and not focusing so much on what has gotten to you to these places in the past, because it's always going to be true. That story that you tell yourself, they're always going to find valid reasons for why that is true and why it remains to be true. And the only way we can change that is by taking the energy out of the thought and putting the energy somewhere else. And so it's Gemini, right? Gemini is a very mental sign. And so it's about flipping that mental effort from this is the challenge to this is what I'm reclaiming. And really reminding yourself of that every time you feel like you get stuck in a negative headspace. What am I moving towards? What am I moving towards? What am I asking for? What am I manifesting? What am I creating? What do I want? Just keep doing that. Keep pushing that into your being and into your mental practice. And within the month, it's going to start to root. And then all of a sudden, your default will be, I can do this. I'm capable of this. I'm not afraid of the unknown. I lean into the unknown. And you're going to have all of these tools that's going to set you up for a very different winter, or a very different summer if you're in the Southern Hemisphere, but a very different winter for those of us in the Northern Hemisphere that you've ever experienced, because you're all of a sudden going to have access to all of these tools that you spent time creating now. Okay, we'll do this one next. Okay. For some of you, this isn't going to be for everyone. And what I mean by that is that the context that I'm using this in isn't going to be for everyone, but it's still going to come up in your life in one way or another. And so from the stronger energy that's coming through is that for some of you, this is a practice. So maybe you're really into yoga. Maybe it's a creative project. Maybe it's an idea you've been trying to float or get off the ground for a long time and you just feel like you're not getting any traction. If this is you or this is your project, there is an appropriate time, and it's not a waste of time, but there is an appropriate time to step away from what you're working on and give it space to breathe, so that when you come back to it, you can come back to it with a fresh mind and fresh eyes. Because at this point, it feels like there's a little bit of anxiety around it. There's a little bit of tension or unsureness, or just a little bit of like grating with pushing. And so what will serve you in this moment is just letting it drop just for a little bit, and knowing that it's completely okay to let it drop. You're not letting it wither. You're not letting it die. You're not putting it away on the shelf forever. You're just taking a breather and focusing on other things, so that when you come back to this project or this idea or this attempt, you are a lot more confident and comfortable in your approach. And so for some of you, that's also going to, the other side of this coin, I suppose, is going to have to do with your healing. You know, some of you are really pushing to try and heal, and you're pushing to try and heal this thing or solve this thing or move yourself past this thing. And it's going to come to you a lot easier. That shift is going to come to you a lot easier when you allow it to rest, when you leave it be, when you let it alone, just for a little bit, so that you can gain some perspective and some clarity and some insight on the situation or the healing aspect as a whole. And so, in short, you're doing enough. You're doing enough with this project. You're doing enough with this healing, and you don't need to keep pushing yourself so hard so that you're kind of rubbing yourself raw, trying to get the thing to shift. Allow it to fall away, maybe just till the end of November. Allow it to fall away, let it leave your mind, and then when you feel a little bit more space within yourself, you can come back to it and revisit it and see how things go from that perspective. And our last card here. Wow. If you have been following me for 6 months or more, you will know how many times we have gotten this card. It is insane. So really, like, there's 2 levels of this card, which is really exciting. And one of them is this larger collective message of there being a larger shift in some of the oppressive frameworks that we've been working with. And so if you are someone who works with underrepresented communities, in the BIPOC community, with people with disabilities, with people who have been largely ignored by the larger social context. If you're somebody who is working in ASL, which if you are, I'm looking for an ASL teacher, so hit me up. But if you're someone who works in ASL or who's been looking for funding for something, this is a very large sign that there is going to be a bit of a tidal shift, and that all of this stuff is going to start rushing forwards towards you. And so if you're in an initiative like that, if you are somebody like that, if you are working with people who are in this realm of being largely ignored or missed, keep your eye out for grants and funding and operations support and all of these other things that you might be able to find accessibility through and find support through, especially financial support, because there is this large collective happening. So allow that to be received within your body, and know that if this is you or this is someone close to you, that there's going to be a lot of support and abundance and wealth, not necessarily always in money, but wealth in support or time or money or people or whatever, a wealth of support in this direction. So that is something that's coming through for the larger collective. And then on a personal scale, this beautiful transformation, it really is coming through like a gong of reminder of this is where you are at right now. Whether you are in the phase of the chrysalis where you are struggling to get your head out, or you are just stretching your wings and you're realizing that it actually feels quite good to expand, or whether you are preparing to leap off of the branch, or maybe you have just taken your first flap and you are flying, you are in a period of this true transformation where this is the point where you are allowed to receive all of the benefits that are coming to you as a result of your hard work. Receive that truth. Allow yourself to feel the success and the abundance, the giving back, the receptivity, the love, all of the other ways that I could say success that I haven't thought of right now. Allow yourself to really receive all that goodness this month, because you do deserve it. And you have worked to expand your capacity for receiving, and you have worked to see where your shortcomings are in terms of allowing yourself to receive. And so just allow this to serve as the gong of reminder that you are in this butterfly phase, and that you are meant to be receiving good, and you are meant to have things go your way, and you are meant to have things work out. And so if you feel like there's still fear here, then you might need to do something about it. You might need to have some action here, bring Mars energy into this and do some sort of somatic release. Go to a massage therapist, go to a different therapist, go to a dance, go to a pool, go to something that will allow you to shift some things in your body. Run as fast as you can and then scream into the wind. Like, do something that will allow your body to release this fear, because all that I'm seeing through this is light. And so allow yourself to receive that energy, allow yourself to receive that abundance, and just notice and observe without resistance or trying to control. Notice and observe how much your life is positively changing. And then use that as proof that you are deserving of good things and that you deserve more. So that is all I have for you folks today. If you would like to book a reading with me, check out the email in the description box below. I would love to do a private reading for you. I do 90-minute private sessions for my new clients. Check out the reviews on Google at Indigo Instinct Healing on Google. I have a lot of positive reviews that might encourage you or reassure you with some questions. Leave a comment below if you liked the video. Hit the like button. That's super helpful. And if it resonated with you, it would really do me a big favor to pass it on to a friend so that more people who are meant to see these messages receive them. Thank you so much, and until next time, blessings.